play in your life? And tell us a bit about your choice, preferences of automobiles.
I've been obsessed with cars ever since I was a child. In my room, whatever magazine and whatever ad of a car that I could get my hand on, I used to cut it out and stick it on my wall. So I was always absolutely in awe, of great looking cars, of great sounding cars. So for me, when I first started being able to make some money, I must tell you about Dil Chahta Hai, for example. Although that car is only there on the trip to Goa and back, right? It's everyone associates that film so much with that road trip because of the sense of freedom that that car provides to the three characters in that film, and that represents them, that they are free-spirited characters, and the car kind of encapsulated that. But at that point, I must tell you honestly, I couldn't afford that car. It was just a car that we could get in to shoot for the film and then had to very tearfully send it back. But I always had this desire to buy a Mercedes because I felt to me that that was the epitome of engineering, the epitome of sophistication, and the epitome of cool. All three combined. So the minute I could afford it, I bought a Mercedes. I still have a GLS. I drive around in that. It's absolutely fantastic. So I've always been into it. My daughters and my wife keep asking me what it is about cars, and I say I can't explain it to you. Just born with it in your DNA. So that's really what it is.
That's nice to know. And Zoya, we touched upon this topic on casting and your expertise in casting, which you also said comes a bit from your educational background and your observation that you're doing. But when we have these legendary cars, and how do you see Mercedes-Benz fitting into your movies? How would you describe Mercedes-Benz in your movies if you have to cast these cars?
I mean, for me, a Merc is something I would use for a character that's very elegant. I would use for a character that's chic. I would use for a character that comes from, that is not flashy or gauche or nouveau. It spells class to me, Merc. So I would use it, I would cast it in that way. And I would also like to come to my set in one. That's how it would fit into my movie.
Nice.
Right, I would probably, excuse me, add to that, which is that depending on which Merc you're talking about, which Mercedes you're talking about, because if you take one of those old beautiful vintage ones that you can see out there, that is a completely different kind of character. A character who truly treasures things from the past. And there's a certain sense of rebellion in those cars. When you see those beautiful vintage cars, I mean, I can't help but like just kind of want to immediately go off on a road trip with my friends and just forget about everything else. So a collector, if you talk to any collector in the world, to them, finding a Mercedes in some kind of pristine form anywhere in the world is absolutely a delight and absolutely a joy.
Well, that's great. I was presenting and I said that some of these cars are now in exceeding 1 million euros, 2 million euros to find out even in the international market. So I think, yeah, lots, I think the aspiration and the desirability comes from the legacy and the heritage also of these brands.
But can I ask you, Santosh, if you don't mind?
Yeah, yeah.
We've been speaking about the youth. You've asked us questions, but I would like to ask you, because there's no doubt in any of our minds and all the people here that there is like an intrinsic desirability that the youth has, for the Mercedes. Looking at it from the other side, from the company side, can you maybe share with us, or with Zoya and me at least, what is it that you think about this brand that creates such a strong aspiration for the youth?
I think that's a great question, and for me personally, I visit this museum. We have a Mercedes-Benz museum in Stuttgart where we tell the stories. But this brand decided on a different path. We invented the car and we are inventing it again. But when we invented the car, the founding forefathers said that we will not go into making more and more cars. There are American companies who made more cars. But we said we will make the cars better each day. So that spirit of innovation, spirit of changing, and also the timeless design. So many of these cars now that we have put up here, you can find some threads on the design which is consistent. And that's something what makes the car desirable. the brand itself also has a lot of stories. We had this aspiration I mentioned about Janis Joplin's song to featuring in movies. Even today, if I look at there are certain games with Gran Turismo 5, for example, has Mercedes-Benz car. So as a child, when you are there, you are growing up to those gaming consoles. You want those cars, be it in a Justice League, for example. You slowly build affinity and aspiration. And also, it's about the stories. A story, as Sophie today morning when she came in here, she said, Santosh, Lance, I'm very happy. I said, why? And as she mentioned in her introduction, my dad bought me home in an SL. So, these stories is what makes the brand so desirable, and people have memories. And I think with every generation, we are able to create new stories, and I am sure these cars reflect, the changing trends as well. What do you think?
I mean, in terms of the Merc and pop culture, I think it's always been there. It is in everyone has some Mercedes story. Either the first one they bought, or the one that they will buy when they can, or the one that they have pinned up. Everyone has a story. I think it's a part of it's iconic. It's a part of everyone's consciousness. If you're interested in cars, there's no way you're missing this one.
Well, that's insightful discussions. I don't want to continue. We can keep on chatting, but my final question. We are on a car launch. The expert on youth and the entire insights. What do you think of the new AMG SL55?
I mean, I want to know that if I have to gift it to Farhan on his birthday, how much would that cost me? What would be my damage?
Well, these are collectors, so price is secondary, but yes, there has to be a price tag. And the price of the AMG SL55 starts at 2.35 crores in India. So that's a perfect birthday gift if you're planning.
Which is nothing for a loving sister to give her brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's been great, Farhan, Zoya. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for sharing
Thank
really
you.
some insights. I'm sure our media friends and of course many watching live would have loved the interactions and would have gained some insights on your filmmaking, on your insights on youth. And we are looking forward for your next movies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
everyone.
Thank you for that.
And I hand it over to Sophie.
Yes, I'm back, and I just want to thank you, Santosh, Zoya, and Farhan. Thank you so much for being here, for that fun chat, and for making this launch so very special. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for the launch of the AMG SL55. We've got two cars on stage, as you can see, and we have one at the Lineage Walk. So there are three cars that you can all... Ek second ruk jao baba, wo aayenge wapas. And another car is parked to the Lineage Walk, so there's lots of places for you to do all the pictures that you need. Now, many generations of SL are available at the venue for you to shoot, as you can see. And please don't forget to pose with your squad and the Dil Chahta Hai car at the entrance. Thank you so much for being here, and do join us for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again.